What's up, everyone? It's PB Baseball here. And if you're new here to this channel, I'm currently building a Lego model of Target Field, as you can currently see behind me here. In this video, I'll talk a little bit about, how did I come up with my design, some things that helped me to build this model, as you can see, because I'm very close to completion with the stadium. So I'd appreciate if you'd follow so you don't miss the rest of the completion of the stadium. My goal right now with my Lego Target Field is to have it on full-time display at Target Field, hopefully by opening day of this year. That's the plan. So make sure you guys follow, leave a comment. If you have any other questions about my stadium, Legos, or Target Field, make sure to leave them in the comments. I'm always happy to answer your questions. One of the first things that I did before I even started with the build of this model was I took a lot of inspiration. So I took a lot of inspiration from, other Lego builders. One in particular who I've really looked up to and who I really modeled my stadium after was Sean Kenny. He's a professional Lego builder. He has like my dream job of like building with Legos for a job, for a living, which is something that's super cool and something I want to do one day. But yeah, I took a lot of inspiration from his models. So in particular, he built an incredible model of Wrigley Field and Yankee Stadium. So I took a lot of inspiration from those. Not only just like the looks and the aesthetics, but like the size. He did a really great job with like his angles and corners and some other challenging items that you get when you're building something like a baseball stadium where it's not just straight or a box. There's a lot of different angles. There's different curves. So that's something that I took a lot from his builds. I also took some inspiration from some other commercial builds that he did too that I could use in my model because it is a baseball stadium, but also there are some other features that you can take from other builds. That's something that's super important. And so the key with this inspirational part of building these creations that you're doing on your own and not necessarily a set is you really want to take your time and slow everything down and kind of understand like where do I want to start. And an important factor that really helped me out with this build, as you can see, is that inspirational part. That was a very big benefactor for me. If I didn't take that time, before the build, and also like during the build too, you're taking a lot of inspiration from these other models I'm talking about. That's been a big help for me. That's something that's very, very important that I've seen that the build wouldn't be where it is today without that. So that is something that I really take highly when I'm building these builds. So the next thing that really helped me with this build was doing a lot of research on Target Field itself, because ultimately the thing that whatever you're trying to build, whether it's a stadium or a commercial building or even like a house or whatever, even a city, whatever it is, you want to take inspiration from like the actual stadium or building that you're doing. So in this case, I'm building Lego Target Field. So then the next important thing with this was to take a lot of inspiration from the actual stadiums. So with that, I'm doing a lot of research online. I'm looking at a ton of, aerial pictures of Target Field. With this being a scale model and it's not a minifigure scale build, less is more in the situation. So, I'm looking at a lot of aerial pictures. For me, I really like those because it simplifies things a little bit more. When you look at those close-up pictures too much, I feel like it's harder to take that, in large picture or area and try to like condense it down versus taking something, that's condensed and like trying to make it bigger. So that was a big benefactor for me with this build. So I was looking at a ton of aerial pictures. Another big asset for this build was using an app called Google Earth. So what that is, if you don't know, it allows you to look at any type of building or a house in like a 3D image. So it's super cool. The thing I like about that is you can literally pull up any location of any build. So in this case, Target Field. What you're able to do is it's a 3D image of that. And you're able to like scroll all the way around the build, which is really cool. So you get all different types of angles. Sometimes you don't get angles with builds, online of different pictures. So this was really a key for that. And so you're able to zoom in, you're able to zoom out, you're able to scroll all the way around. The other cool thing about Google Earth is you can get different street views. So that's really cool too. So if if there's a street right by the stadium, which there are different roads right by the stadium. So it'll highlight the road and then you can click on that road, it'll zoom in and you can scroll all the way down. You can go back, you can go in a couple of different directions. But the cool thing with that is if I'm working on something up close to the stadium, so with the exterior, my stadium used that quite a bit with tree placements down the first baseline. I also use it for the light post placements, like outside the stadium too. So that was a big help for that. Sometimes with the Google Earth View, if you're just looking at it from above, it's kind of hard to tell like where you're at, or sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to kind of determine like where looking on top of it, like where these light posts are. I use that a lot, not only for placements of these light posts and the trees that I was mentioning, but I also use it a lot for lining different things up. A section of seats. But sometimes it can be hard to tell, like looking at just internet pictures, like where in comparison the seats are to the exterior. So sometimes this really helped with like determining like like where to line things up, how far a section of seats are in or something like that. So that was something that was really important. I'm really glad that I used Google Earth. And the other thing with inspiration and research is if you can find an architectural model, so maybe like a cardboard build of whatever you're building to, that's huge. And for me, I used an architectural model that's currently at the stadium. It's not Lego, it's just like cardboard or paper or whatever, of Target Field. And the reason why that was such a big benefit for me in this build is because it's a scale model already. So then right away you kind of know, okay, it gives you an idea of, the different scales to build this, that, the third, like what the size of the field. And I actually use that for kind of laying out the perimeter of the field. Like that was something super huge for me. So what I did with that was I went to the stadium, Target Field, and I took a bunch of pictures on my phone of the model itself. And I use those pictures a lot, even right now. And then sometimes, even with the models too, sometimes there's certain things that are shown on the model that maybe aren't shown in real life. So sometimes you kind of have to like go back and forth with the real life pictures and also the model that you're building. And sometimes you need to determine, okay, well, what do I want to show? Like what do I have room for? But it's not all the time, but sometimes it does come up. So yeah, so those are some of the things that I used and continually use for my Lego Target Field. So if you have any other questions, whether it's about Legos, the Twins, or Target Field, be sure to let me know, like leave a comment. I'm always happy to answer questions, in particular this, because in terms of how I built the stadium, because there's so much that goes into building these models. It's not just you start off and you're just building. Like there's so much more that goes into it that doesn't get talked about enough. So that's something that I get very excited about, is talking about what goes into this, so I can help out other potential Lego builders. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Again, I'm currently building a Lego Target Field. We're very, very close to completion. Follow along so you don't miss the rest of the journey. Again, the goal for this project that I'm currently working on is have it on display at Target Field for opening day 2026. So don't miss out, guys. As always, thank you guys so much.